G'day everyone, I'm Brian. Welcome back to Voice in the Wilderness Australia. Today we're going to be talking about something disgusting. It's only going to be a short video, but it's about something disgusting. It's a story about two words that go so well together: politicians and RORTS. And this should enrage every Australian, every honest Australian who works for a living, pays taxes. While thousands of Aussies are struggling to find a home even these days, to put food on the table, to pay the rent, or simply just keep a roof over their families' heads. And sometimes that is even just a tent roof because things are being exploited. A patch of grass in some caravan parks is $200, $250 a week just to pitch a tent for a family, because these people know that there are people struggling out there. Now, the federal politicians are quietly using taxpayer funds to pad their own pockets, so to speak, legally redirecting public funds into their mortgages and flying their families around the country and even around the world at our expense, at the taxpayers' expense. Now, this isn't just those on the fringe of politics. It's bipartisan between the political parties. It's systemic, and it's happening right now. Let's look exactly how and why this should make every Australian angry. Okay, so what's going on? Under the current rules, federal MPs receive a daily travel allowance of $322 per sitting day, I think it is, meant to cover accommodation, food, and incidentals when they're down in Canberra. But here's the kicker. When an MP owns a home in Canberra, they can still claim the full allowance while living in their own house and effectively use that money to pay down their mortgage with taxpayer dollars. So instead of getting a motel or accommodation, a flat or something in Canberra, they buy a house, and they own that house, but they're still claiming the $322 per sitting day travel allowance and accommodation allowance. Sorry, not travel allowance, accommodation allowance. So they can use that towards paying their mortgage off. Now, I don't think that's fair. So just, in fact, stop and just let that sink in for a minute. While you and I and thousands, millions of other people are out paying rent or struggling to meet our own mortgage repayments, politicians are legally using the same federal travel allowance that we fund with our taxes to help pay their home loans. A lot of them have got homes all around where they live with their families, because they come from all the states into Canberra. But they have property portfolios there, but now they're buying a house or a unit in Canberra, and you and I are paying for it. So we're adding to their property portfolio just for them being elected. Politicians who don't even have to spend the money on a hotel are still being handed it in cash. That's not an allowance in my books. That's just a free ride. And it gets worse because so many politicians are doing it. There's another part of this scandal that will really get you fired up. Well, I hope it will anyway. Federal MPs and senators can also claim family travel expenses. Now, I can understand that in a way for a spouse, because you spend so much time away from your spouse, but not all the time. And they're claiming sometimes business class flights for their spouses or their children or both, and all on the taxpayer tab. So let's give it a little bit perspective here. The price for a business class ticket is typically 3 to 5 times higher than economy class that most people fly. And that reflects the enhanced services that you get at your expense when you book a business class. So these spouses are getting business class flights in a lot of the times, which are 3 to 5 times higher than an economy class, which is what they should be flying. Now, we're paying our politicians enough already. We don't need their families bleeding the taxpayer teeth dry as well, just because they can, just because it's a rort that they can get away with, a loophole they can use. It's technically supposed to be for family reunion travel. I think that's the wording that they use. And while they do, this is while they're doing parliamentary duties. So family reunion travel while they're doing their parliamentary duties. But in practice, it's being treated like a perk, just like everything else they get. In the last financial year alone, politicians billed taxpayers more than $1.1 million for family travel. Wow. I wish I had $1.1 million to be able to jet set my family everywhere. We have a go at Albo for being Airbus Albo and things like that. But yes, he does sort of partake of the system, but he's not the only one. Now, more than $1 million, as I just said, just flying their partners and kids around the country. And who appears at the top of that list? Ministers like Don Farrell, who racked up tens of thousands of dollars, Australian dollars, in family travel expenses. And even the Prime Minister himself, among the highest of the claimants. So let's put it in context. Most Australians wait months to save for just a basic family holiday. Many can't afford to fly home to see relatives. The politicians, they're flying to Canberra. They're flying to sports events. They're flying God knows where else, all at public expense, within the rules. Now that's not just a rort. It's insulting to every single Australian who is struggling. But as I said, it's systemic. And before anyone starts pointing fingers at a single side of politics, understand this. This has existed for years under both Labor and Liberal governments. It's a long-standing arrangement in the parliamentary entitlement system. All the parties do it. The Greens, One Nation, even your small parties. They all rort the system. They get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars, but you won't see them paying out of their own pocket for a plane trip to go and attend, like the politicians who attended the pro-Hamas rally over the Sydney Harbour Bridge. They wouldn't have paid for the tickets themselves. Now, this isn't just about only the other side does it story. I don't want to portray it as that. It's a systemic problem. The rules were written by politicians for politicians, just like the gun laws and there's hate speech laws. It was written by politicians, career politicians who have never probably done a hard day's grafting in their life. And as we all know, people who write the rules tend to interpret them to their own advantage, and we do see that with politicians all the time. People from all parties have claimed these entitlements. Some claim ambitiously, others barely claim a cent. And yeah, thank you to those ones. The real issue just isn't about just the amount. It's the principle of the matter. Why are taxpayer funds being used for perks while everyday Australians are hurting? The organisation I'm part of, we feed up to 400 people in a small country town every week who are struggling on the side. We feed them on the side of the road. We cook a meal on the side of the road and we feed them. And even the councils are starting to sort of stop us from doing that, saying that they don't want us to attract those poor people into the centre of town. It's disgusting. Now, every day it seems like a new story comes out about inflation, about the record rents people are paying, about housing shortages or families going without. So yeah, every day it seems like a new story is coming out about those topics. But families are going without. Aussies can't afford, or they can't even secure affordable rent. I know so many people whose have come to me and said their rent has gone up. Their rent's just been renegotiated. It's gone up $100, $160 a week on top of what it already was. Young families can't save for a deposit for a house these days because just the cost of living is so high, and people are working multiple jobs just to survive. Meanwhile, the members of parliament that we mistakenly elect can claim allowances even while living in their own Canberra home. They can claim that accommodation allowance. They can fly their spouses and their children around business class. Remember, 3 to 5 times higher than an economy class ticket. Now, this disparity is not just frustrating. Personally, I think it's morally wrong. And I know this, some of you will say in passing in the comments, but it's within the rules. Yes, it is within the rules. But that's the point. These entitlements are legal loopholes designed by the people enjoying them. They're designed, they're written by the politicians that are rorting them. So they don't just get their salary, they get so much more on top of their salaries. And we're allowing it. Now, when politicians set their own spending rules and then claim expenses that most Australians do see as perks, that's not accountability. That's self-serving. They're self-serving to the public financial trough. And when these loopholes allow these members of parliament to redirect the public's money towards things like their own mortgages or their own premium travel, while average Australians struggle under the cost of living expenses, that's not governance. That's elected people exploiting the rest of the citizens, the rest of the public. And frankly, we deserve better. So what can everyday Australians do about this? What can you do about this? What can I do about this? There's a few simple steps that we can use to push back. We can, number one, start demanding transparent reporting. So ask for a monthly public disclosure of your local member of parliament, both state and federal. Ask for a public disclosure of their expenses in a clear, searchable format, like they put it on their webpage or something like that, because every single parliamentarian has a webpage. So to put a transparent document about all of their spending and everything like that each month onto somewhere where we can see it. 2, push for independent oversight. Now, the current system is policed by the parliamentary watchdog, the IPEA, I think it is, whose independence, it is questionable because it's them investigating them. So it's like police investigating other police. It just doesn't work. You'll never get a satisfactory outcome or a truthful outcome. Now, we need true independent auditing with real consequences for those who misuse the system. They need to be held accountable for that. And we need to call for a complete review of all of their entitlements, not tweaking it, a full overhaul of travel allowances, like their accommodation allowance, and perks, so that they reflect community standards and not political privilege, because they are the political class at the moment. They are the privileged class. Even your mayors in local country towns and even big cities, they are the political class. They're not there for you. They're not there to make your life any happier or easier. They're there for themselves, for the financial gain and the RORTS and that they can partake of. Now, we need a full review. And number 4, we need to hold politicians accountable at the ballot box. And I'm seeing so many people saying, oh, vote One Nation because we're disillusioned with Labor and LNP. But just remember, look what happened to the LNP when the LNP was conservative. Their member base started growing, and it grew with people who were disparaged with Labor. So they've still got that woke mindset, and they've come over to LNP. And now LNP's overrun with that woke mindset. Now, at the moment, many people who are bolstering the numbers of One Nation are ex-Labor supporters. And you can see that in the comments of the stories. I'm from Labor and I've come over to One Nation. Just remember, the things that those people have supported in the Labor Party, all the immoral policies, the death policies, the euthanasia policies, the abortion policies, that's not going to change. That is still their mindset. So I can personally see One Nation going the same way as the LNP did, because the One Nation executive are thinking, oh yes, we're getting the numbers up. But that might be true, but you're not getting the numbers of people who are loyal to the party or loyal to conservatism. You are getting these people who are peeved off with Labor at the moment, but they're still deep-seated Labor voters. Okay, number 5, support advocacy groups. Groups that push for transparency and integrity in politics, that hold governments to account every single day. Because this isn't just about this one story I'm telling you about today, it's about our values. And with the rest of the world, especially nations that punish corruption and misuse of public funds, let's look at how we can handle these situations the same as them. We must not normalise this behaviour, because that's what the politicians are doing. They're normalising using the RORTS. So my friends, if you're as disgusted as I am, then please share this video. Tag your friends in. Post it on social media. Let's make sure these stories don't disappear into the system that they benefit from and the politicians benefit from, so they can just keep rotting the system even more. Every taxpayer dollar matters, and Australian taxpayers aren't seeing much of it come back, except into the pockets of those politicians. Australians deserve leaders who respect that, not exploit it. So thanks for watching Voice in the Wilderness. As I said, I'm Brian. Until next time, please stay informed, stay vocal, and don't let politics be a free ride for the unscrupulous politicians. Subscribe for more hard-hitting analysis like this. I'll have a new video out soon. Bless you.